Right, so I guess for this session we mostly want to try and get through the list of user space changes that we want to do, because most of the kernel stuff was, I think, mentioned on Monday already.
Yeah.
So you can probably try and at least get through the current list. Maybe some people have other things they want to discuss. If so, please just add them to the list on the current pad. That might be faster.
Is there a copy of the whiteboard on the pad?
Yeah, there is. At the end of the pad,
okay.
the whiteboard.
All right, so AppArmor and SecComp2 we've already talked about.
Yeah. Yes.
You want to proceed with scripts?
Yeah. So one thing that OpenVC adds, and that some people would probably like to have, are basically scripts that can run before starting a container. Obviously, after it started, and after it stopped, at least. OpenVC was also letting you run scripts right after the container file system is mounted, but not before it started. I'm not sure if we want to have that distinction. So the idea is that that's also another action item, the discussion item we've got after that, which is basically making the container root visible from the outside. So you have
is that
valid LXC container.
Yeah, that I definitely want to do, and it shouldn't be too big of a patch.
Right. So as soon as we can do that, then having a mount hook kind of makes sense, because it means that they can run a script to mess with the container file system before actually starting a container.
Okay. Do we worry about having too many hook points being confusing for people, or do you think that's?
I think not having the same hook points as OpenVC would make it confusing for people. So we probably should try and aim at having the same ones, which is basically before starting, right after mounting, and after starting.
And how should we specify these? Just in the LXC config file? Specify a script that they can.
I think the best would be to have an LXC dot pre-start equals something, LXC dot post-mount equals something, LXC dot post-start equals something.
What were the four again? So I can just put them in here.
So you want to have pre-start, post-mount, post-start, post-start.
How would you know post-start? No, post-start, I mean, that wouldn't be synchronized with the
post-start would be right after we right after we did the clone and started it.
After what?
Right after we do the initial clone route and started it. We're not going to do it post-start of everything in the container, but post-start we started it.
Would we want to freeze the container while doing this? Like exec it and then freeze it, or would we want to?
I don't think OpenVC was freezing it. I'm not sure if we have a good reason to want to freeze it.
Well, is it safe to go poking in there while Upstart is doing all its business?
Depends what you think the thing is for. What sort of things is it used for? Because you might want to use it to talk to the container. Yeah, if it's frozen, you can't do that. Depends what it's for. What do people use them for?
I mean, certainly some people are trying to do LXC attach. So if it's completely frozen, it's going to be a bit of an issue, I think.
Do you want to write up the hook points you're thinking of and send an email to LXC Devel and see what people think?
Sure, yeah, I can certainly start the discussion for that. Trying to talk to some people who've been doing large-scale OpenVC deployments on exactly what they're using that for. The only case where I was actually using the post-start one the only case where I was actually using that for OpenVC was as a workaround for an OpenVC bug. But maybe some people are actually using that for something useful. For the post.
Okay.
It was basically to, as a post-start, figure out the exact right limits to apply to the container and change them. That I was doing in OpenVC.
Okay.
So yeah, I can certainly write some ideas and send an email to LXC Devel and see what we can get from I know that some people on the mailing list also have very strong opinions on what should be available for hooks because they are already doing with apps mounted.
Right.
Right, so next one I think is not really controversial, is it?
Config bound includes?
Yes. I think we just want it. It's just a matter of extending.
How high do you think that, I mean, how important do you think that is to people?
It's not for me, so I guess maybe some people might want to. I think it would simplify the syntax for when we use LXC clone, LXC starter framework, but it's not a big deal to copy it currently. So it shouldn't be high priority, I think, but it's nice to.
So we just make it a work item for the cycle.
Yeah.
Right.
Let you write that.
All right.
So basically what we want is in an LXC configuration file, be able to include another one.
Right.
So that you can just override what you want. I think it might make sense for, at least for the device section, which is usually long and usually wants to just change everywhere. It might make sense to actually have all the base stuff.
It also might
include from base by default.
For a network, I mean, if you want to switch all of them from VETH to MAC VLAN.
True. Yeah. I think it might make sense for us to switch by default to having a base config file somewhere, and just having everything include base, and just override the 2 or 3 that we include in the set.
We won't write an action for that though.
No.
That's just something you want to do if you can.
Once we get it, we might just do it.
All right.
I've put stretch goal on the end of that one because it's so nice to have.
True. Okay. Okay. Now encrypted root support would. I think we just do that as a pre-start hook.
Yes. That would be easiest. Just code crypts and that blocks open.
Now, what would we actually want to provide? Do we want to provide a script section for the documentation, a sample script, or do we just?
I think we should maybe just add an example to the Ubuntu server guide once we have the hooks in place. I mean, it should be easy enough. We just want to call crypt setup blocks open and mount it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that in the server guide. Switch to a Git backend for UDD. I have no idea if that's feasible or not, especially if we're going to keep syncing from Debian.
So it's not going to be possible for UDD itself. We might want to have a separate branch that's backed by Git for it. At the same time, I'm not sure how much of a pain it currently is to add the new patches, because at least on my side it's not. Is it for you? I mean, we're going to have big data anyway.
It would make keeping track of what patches are upstream and which aren't a lot easier.
I think the easiest would really be to either manage to convince Daniel to give us commit tracks, or to just say that we commit everything to a shared Git branch, and whenever we actually add a patch, we just add it there. Because
maybe I should see if I can add a post-commit hook to the GitHub branch so that he gets an email every time I commit.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Because what I'm doing for the projects like DSP, where I'm also the upstream, it's usually I commit the stuff in the upstream branch, then I just do bzdartif for the right commit from upstream and just apply it directly to Ubuntu and do it package source commit, saying, well, I just cherry pick that specific revision from upstream, that's it.
But right now, what I do for LXC is I make the patch in LXC, get it to work. Then I get it, I port it to upstream, send it there, and then I have to remember whether.
I think it would be easier for us to just work with the Git branch when we should do the change, and last minute just do a Git diff, apply that in the package, commit it in the package, and that's it. Well, commit it in the package, as in we do the package source commit, so that it creates the Debian patches, whatever.
Yeah, now I know. It's feeling dirty.
Your what?
It feels dirty. I'm sure it's the right way to do it. I just feel dirty after listening.
Okay, so we'll scratch that one.
So try and
you don't
maybe,
need that?
I think we want an action item on trying to get Daniel to merge a bit more often and release a bit more often. I'm not sure how much of that we can actually achieve, but having more than one release per year would be nice.
Okay, where would you want to, right now I've been keeping my own GitHub tree. I don't know if we can get shared access to that or not. We could use a launchpad tree, but something, let's get something that you and I both have write access to that does automatic on each commit, sends an email to him. Mm-hmm. And we'll only push a commit when we know it works, and that's what we want.
I think you can share it somehow.
Okay.
So yeah, we can try to get that on GitHub. If it doesn't, we can always try and get an account on the git.kernel.com.
On what?
The kernel.ubuntu.com server, because they actually have a Git server there. Mostly for kernel development, but it's a Git server.
Shh, it's a kernel. So definitely. We do have Git server with Git work there. By complete coincidence.
Right, so next one is one of yours, I think. LVM manipulation inside guests. That's interesting. I've got no clue how you do it.
I actually don't remember what the point of it actually is. I think it's just passing the devices along into the container. Let's just skip that for now. Is that a
So it's not like create new one, new LVs or something from inside the container?
I think it's for, actually passing the dev mapper entries into the container, and then you have to set the whitelist entry and whatnot. So
that works fine.
What's that?
That works quite.
It works fine, but it's a lot of manual steps, which some people would want automated. But I think it's a very special use case, and I don't think a lot of people will use it. It's not worth the time right now.
Can you reliably give a VG to a container?
I think so.
Okay. That sounds interesting. So,
Well, I
so
mean,
we actually partition that stuff in the container.
I don't know if the major minor number for the block device change.
Well, it's going to be dev mapper, so it's going. You can't really assume it's going to be the same one if you reboot.
Right.
So you need. Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where you probably want that as a post mount hook, where you basically figure out what's the right device to let in the container.
Yeah.
Directly change the C group mapping from that script.
So let's revisit this after hooks are implemented for the next cycle.
Yeah.
An LXC shared support, I'm not sure, but I think that we want to do the exporting to UFS first, yeah.
Yes. The OpenVZ way is much easier because then if you actually want to create a shared mount, you can just mount it there and it works.
So, okay.
Yeah, that would be much easier, and for anyone migrating from OpenVZ, they can just copy their current mount script to our own mount script, change the path, and it should work just fine.
Set no action.
So what we need is an action on actually getting LXC to move the mount structure over to.
I thought we already had one, but maybe not.
Or maybe you did.
It's okay, I'll go ahead and write another one and I'll consolidate them
What
later.
was the action?
Doing the pivot route into a per container exported tree.
Doesn't make any sense. You say container.
Right. Because right now the container's mounts tree is hidden. You can't get to it from the host. So you want to.
Yeah, right.
LXC depconf. Okay, next. We've done the kernel features.
I know someone feels really strongly. I'm looking in that direction, but no. I might be interested in reworking the current LXC Ubuntu template, at least, or potentially moving it to Python, maybe. I want to use something where I can actually query all the supported distros, figure out whether a distro was released before or after something else, because we currently have a coded list of distro code names everywhere in our script, and that could be easier to maintain, I think.
I also really would like the whole templating system to move to something different that isn't just shell scripts calling shell scripts with long argument lists. But I think the first step is, you come up with a list of the API you want to support
In
in liblxc, and then we see how that can get reused, and then. Wait, you want to write that down for this cycle that you're going to rewrite it in Python?
I might just end up doing it whenever I'm I'm bored of copy pasting stuff.
All right.
It's not huge as it is currently. Most of the annoying logic in it is the actual removing all the files and stuff when you use and remember which parameter it is. When you want to build a container that where you don't have etctty 56 and some other stuff, the stripping. I'm not sure if I actually stay next because that's taking half the script.
That's doing what?
That's taking half of the script pretty much.
Oh.
It's really long and it's not relevant anymore really. So, yeah. Because I think...
Really, that's something that probably could be shared between Debian and Ubuntu.
Yeah.
I suspect most of those steps are the same between old Ubuntu and Debian.
Probably. I think old Ubuntu would probably, well, someone who wants to do that on top of an old Ubuntu instead of just using LXC guys could probably use LXC depcat from Debian, running with the Ubuntu distro, and that would work just fine. But yeah.
I don't know what you're saying. Okay, was there anything on the kernel that we want to revisit?
I had one question. Are they all like the same priority, or is there something that which you would say is should go
Under kernel features?
Yeah.
Well,
apparently the last one is more or less stretched goal with a user namespace. So the
no, actually it's the other way around. The user namespace is the most likely to actually get done this cycle.
Okay. So
we should. The C group fake root is probably never going to happen, and I hope there's an action item up the top for me to do the proc mounts, the C group mounts by hand. That's not going to happen, maybe ever, and certainly not this cycle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The devices namespace we're going to discuss hopefully at Plumbers, but there's not even a design yet. The syslog namespace, we don't yet have a good answer for how to do that, and that'll probably come after the devices namespace.
So we've got an action item that says pre-mount C groups during container start.
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah.
Do we already have an action item somewhere for the remaining attached changes to land?
No, we don't.
I put in one for you to send the patches out.
You did put one in, you saying, or?
Send
attached patch sets to kernel team ASAP. Yes,
yeah,
it's there.
I've added it to do on that for you.
Thank you. I have to first find it.
I've marked the other one done for you.
Excellent. Off to a good start for this cycle.
Yeah. Once we've done making items, we need to go through and change the ones that say action to have somebody's name.
Yeah. Okay, LXC apport info. That's one I put down because I'm sick of asking for things. I think I just need a work item to figure out what should be automatically reported and do it.
What case is it exactly? When LXC itself crashes, or when something?
I hope we can do it just when someone says apport bug LXC. It'll send the info.
Yeah, so that's you just want an apport hook attaching a few more files.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's to.
Yeah, I don't think LXC it doesn't crash like that, so
yeah.
that wouldn't be useful. But
yeah, one thing I was actually wondering is what happens currently if something crashes within a container, because of the way apport actually detects that. Apport detects crashes through the proc, whatever under it is.
Maybe even the host, I should think. I should think the host gets told it's crashed.
Yeah, I think it would.
Which
Yes.
it probably doesn't do anything with.
Because there's no way it's going to spawn in the container, so it's going to spawn outside of it.
In what namespace is that thing? It's not in any namespace, is it? It's a special.
I don't know how it works.
It just runs the program, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Probably.
What does it look for? Does it look through the system log for seg faults, or?
There's a core dump channel in the kernel. If you open the core dump channel,
okay.
you get vomit out of it whenever there's a core dump. So I think that's going to end up in the host, I'm sure.
I wonder if we hide that in the container. And if not, I wonder if there's a way to get the sensitive information from the host through that.
From the host, probably not to the host, from inside the containers. But then
That's fine.
That's fine. You probably want the crashes in the containers. I mean, containers probably want to know what the core dumps looks like, so they're now no longer available for it.
Because one point we have, we would probably get into, I'm not sure if I want to deal with it, is if you run 10.04 container on top of 12.04 and you get a crash, Abbott on 12.04 is going to tell you, well, your package is not up to date, and I'm going to let you file it up. But I don't think there's much we can really do about it.
Well, you could probably do something to app or to inject them back into the containers if you can write to the containers fast. I mean, you could probably do something in software in a terrifying and frightening way. Because essentially all Apport does is drops them into var crash.
Right.
So you could probably drop them into a different var crash if
You
know they've come from the container. As to whether you know that, I don't know.
Well, we could just assume if it's in the LXC group, then.
Well, you may not have that information at the point when the crash comes through, so it's. I think there's some investigations to do.
Yeah.
I'll just put an action down to ask where do crashes in the container go. The
Okay.
rest hopefully will fall out of that. Because we'll have to help you with that.
Yeah, I'll probably take that one, so you can just
It may be one of those where we just need to pass any C group information with the crash dumps and what has a hope and how we'll know what to do.
Hooking the test suite up to a Jenkins instance, I think we just put down a work item for James Page to do it. I don't think he's in here. But
What's he going to do? Jenkins.
Yeah. And then there'll end up being an item for me to convert the test suite in one way or another, but that can happen once.
Something like that.
Something like that. Fedora 17 templates. Let's just put down a work item for. I'll do it if you don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Okay.
About the rock, so.
Make Fedora 16 work. Make Fedora 17 work.
Don't they have anyone in the Fedora team actually trying to get the case working?
And it might be working upstream, but I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Because it seems a bit weird that Ubuntu has to maintain a template for all the distros who are not capable of maintaining their own.
And heck, also OpenSUSE. I think that was told that should just work now. And if not, the guy who's doing the templates was willing to talk to me about it, but I haven't gotten around to testing it yet. Okay, and then I think the last item is.
It's that big one.
Yeah. How do we go about it?
So well, I guess first of all we need to actually define what we want in the API. So the basic idea for this one is that we currently have a liblxc that's only used internally for all the LXC tools. Quite a big chunk of the code is actually in the tools itself, where it probably could be the library. So the idea is to improve the library so it's actually useful to people, and they don't need to copy paste the logic. And then when we have something that's in good shape, make sure that well, then start making it public and start working on language bindings, mostly Python. Being the useful one initially.
Well, what hooks? What would you want to be able to use from Arcos?
Arcos needs to we want LXC start to be easy to do. Arcos currently uses LXC execute, but I can just use LXC start. That's not a big deal. Yeah, LXC execute could probably be re-implemented in the language if you want, because it's just start with one hook. Well, LXC start is basically LXC execute is basically LXC start and post mount hook that mounts proc-nsys.
And runs the LXC in it.
Right. So, sure, we can. I mean, it should be easy enough that we can just also get it in the library. I think most of the current things available from the command line probably should be library. So for Arcos, if I just want to port Arcos as it currently is, I would need LXC execute and LXC stop at least. LXC stop is already have a binding for LXC stop because it's so easy to do that it's done. LXC start, LXC execute is much trickier. I think we would also benefit from having an upstream LXC list that's in the library.
Yeah, LXC C group.
Yes.
LXC info, which could give some extra information about all of its C groups and whatnot that you don't get right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go about this really. Would you want an LXC create? Or you don't need that. I mean, that would of course be a whole lot of work, but
I'm not really sure on that one. I think we probably want it at some point, but it's not critical initially.
We got that. So I put down an action to start with a definition. I assume it will flow from there. There'll probably be some more work once you decide how much work you will do.
well, should we each write down what we think a good, nice API might look like, and then we can run them past each other?
Yes, yeah, that's really good. One thing I'm probably going to start doing is I'm probably going to make the actual Python module I would like to use, which is the actual Python side of the things. Then from that, I'm going to obviously see what I need in the library itself. So then we can start shuffling stuff around to actually have that in the library.
Right now, the test suite, it's high level, but it's in Python. Maybe I can think about what I might want in there too.
Yeah, that's another really good use case for the library, being able to test without actually calling any of the tools, just calling the API. I think currently I don't need it, but we'll certainly want LXC attached to be also available from the library.
Yeah. I think the way the source is laid out, he kind of meant to do all that, because he's got the execute and the LXC execute, and same with all of them. So I think he meant to do that. He just never had any users, and so never. You think we want to do something where we instantiate a opaque container type, then like pass it around for various calls, or?
Yeah, I think that would make sense. But we can basically map that as quite an object on the other side.
Right.
So you basically have LXC container object on which you can change the config, start, stop, execute stuff in it. I think that's the most obvious way for a user to actually deal with it.
Yeah, and then would Python introspection let you print out all the info? That would be really cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Given you responsibility for it, how did you on the end? Because you can't have two owners for work out if that breaks it.
Yeah, I think that one's going to open into a whole lot of steps anyway, eventually. Okay, was there anything else you wanted to bring up?
I think that's it. I mean, the two last action items are going to take quite a lot of time, I guess. But yeah, that's definitely the right thing to do moving forward for LXC. When we actually get the a good API, we can start doing funny things like starting to consider replacing or getting another libvirt provider, all that kind of stuff. So that's
one of us should probably at some point email Daniel Barrage and let him know we're thinking of that,
yeah.
so he can properly cuss us out ahead of time.
Yeah.
So if he's doing a lot of work on it right now, so if we come in and say we want to replace yours with this, after he's done all that work, that's.
Who is the color that's eaten line number 64? Could you undo it? I can't remember what was there, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a B.
I think that's Stefan's number.
I think when you cut and pasted something you eat if it's you?
It's not me.
I'm trying to find out is this some sort of
It is some sort of pink. I think it's
Wait,
the
where?
right at the bottom where all these things are hanging out. I assume it's right at the bindings,
Yeah, line 6.5 now. But I copy pasted back from the blueprint like this.
or just shoving whatever you think it is. Yeah. Okay. So if we're getting close to the end, we should go through the actions that don't have an assignment.
Okay, I mean, I was just going to do this later on, but we can do it now if you want. Okay, profile for seccomp, that's me, I think. Unless someone else wants to do that from the kernel or security team. Have you done anything with seccomp?
I've not. I want to look at it. What are you looking at as a profile for seccomp?
What does it even mean?
Well, you can.
A default reasonable set of system calls to forbid from a container that it just doesn't need.
So you're actually saying a seccomp profile
Right.
for a general container.
Right. No, I mean, really, the first step is going to have to be to
run through.
convert it to using libseccomp. Right. I mean.
You put that in the fourth one down.
Hmm?
You just rewrote the fourth action.
Yeah, the fourth action is the first action.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, package libseccomp. I think Case was going to do that anyway. It sounded like from. What's that? Should I put that to you or to me?
I don't know. I like the idea of having the same work item.
You have it in another folder?
But now I can do two at once.
Well, should I just delete it here or?
I'll just leave it.
All right. It's tough to read. LXC attach upstream to use the new setMS syntax.
Yeah, didn't we switch to
Oh, that's
parameters
done.
around?
That, yeah. According to Eric, that was done. Extend LXC attach to support attaching. Oh, okay, that's me, I think. Add the LXC nesting app armor profile. That's fun. Python bindings. That's going to be you, right?
Oh, actually give myself another action item for that later on, but yes.
So I'll just delete that. Okay.
And then there's just the hash include one has no name.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Done. The list is complete.
Apparently you'll be quite busy this second. I'm trying to cut down on the number of work items I'm actually getting because I'm going to spend 2 months on the 12.4.1 team, just doing SIU stuff for 12.4.1 release. So it's typically doable to go through the API and then do the Python modules stuff, but I'm probably going to do less LXC stuff than usual. At least initially, I'm going to be available for bug fixing after feature freeze, but July and mid-June to August, I'm going to do 12.4.1 stuff mostly.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody wants out of LXC in this cycle?
How's Arcos going?
It evolves depending on demand. So currently it doesn't.
Yeah, I've seen some screenshots of product precise and it seems to.
Yeah, there are some small things that will be a lot better once we have the Python module for LXC. because not having to wrap around the LXC commands and just actually having direct binding is going to make it much easier. Also, having LXC attached working is going to make Arcos a lot more useful.
Did it lose support for profiles at some point? Because it looked like he had like Skype profile, and that there was no way to.
Right.
He wasn't precise. There's no way to use that.
Yeah, someone broke Skype at some point in Precise.
Okay.
I just noticed that last week.
Sorry, I missed that.
Something broke Skype at some point.
I just didn't notice there was any way to say. From what the screenshots look like, it just had like run Skype in Arcos, but from playing with the precise version, that's no longer there, or.
You need to install Arcos and then run the Skype profile for Arcos.
And I couldn't find out how to run that profile. It looked kind of opaque. I mean, it could just
Yeah.
be my problem.
You need to call Arcos wrapper GUI and then give the full path to the profile. That's in user shared Arcos profile or something. So yeah, not exactly obvious. The tool works, but for it to be really useful and security team to not scream at me when they see it, we need to have the user namespaces. And we are getting there slowly, and once we have the user namespaces, we can actually start making use of Arcos a lot more, because regular users will be able to use it without actually needing root access.
Yeah,
And then I'm expecting that we'll make it a lot more useful and integrated into this flow.
and incorporate it into like general usage of non-standard applications would be great.
Yeah.
It's not so good.
So yeah, I'm not expecting much for Arcos this cycle besides just porting it on the new API and while fixing bugs, because I've found quite a few more that I need to fix. And hopefully next cycle we can actually have it use the user namespace and have it all nice and run as the user.
Well, you could set up a PPA now where you could start using it with the user namespace.
True. Yeah, I'm probably just not going to have time to actually do all the changes this cycle, so it's going to be more realistic to do at fixing it, getting it working with user namespaces, and getting good integration for next cycle.
Is there a work item for me to exploit user namespaces or not?
I don't see.
I don't see one.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't spell his own name.
Rarely need to.
Is there any special requirement for the ARM platform, like LXC for the ARM platform? You want to run?
It just works.
Just
Well, it's supposed to just work. It would be good if someone, I mean, once in a while, well, no, there's occasionally breakages, so once in a while I ask Robbie to run it.
Because I can double actually test on it.
Actually, if you
Maybe
Yeah,
the-
I'm going to work on that.
Okay.
Maybe try LXC.
One of the things that
Yeah.
we're starting into this cycle is
Yeah.
LXC.
Okay.
LXC stuff.
And I expect Stefan will still be interacting with you for LXC in general, but as well. But
Okay.
he's-
What's
you-
your name?
Brian.
Brian.
Okay, fine. There is a, like say, a high-level test suite. That's what I usually ask Robbie to run. It's in my junk UZR folder. And it just creates a bunch of containers and starts them and stops them. So if you can just run that
maybe
once in a while on
we
ARM.
should bring Robbie and Brian together.
Okay.
Yeah.
See
Oh.
so that they interact or talk to each other about the testing.
Oh, really?
Okay.
We're already running your test suite on ARM.
Regularly?
Yep.
Yeah, Amanda? Yeah, cool.
Cool. Are you gonna let me know when it breaks? How will that,
Amanda is
where does that
in-
get recorded?
In the lab, I think.
I know, but do you have hardware?
No.
We need to fix them.
Okay.
Amanda?
We need to get
Cool.
you hardware.
I didn't realize that.
I
Do you
think
regularly
there's
fetch
some
updates from my VCR tree, or?
pieces. Maybe two will be good. We'll send to Pete.
Oh, not necessarily one, but if you've got other hardware.
Oh yeah.
I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do about
Penable.
adding test cases as bugs
Yeah.
come in. I don't know if I'm going to add them to there or what I'm going to do, but I might do that. So it might get updated too, depending on how I decide.
Yeah, you did that. That was the awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to sort myself another work items because some people in QA noticed that our current package list we installed through the LXC Ubuntu template actually has packaging conflicting with each other. That's not a problem because the Bootstrap just ignores it, but we probably should review that list. You know, the list of extra packages we installed on top of the base Bootstrap to check that we actually need these.
Oh,
and
right,
just have
right.
the actual needed list there. But I'm going to just take an action item to review this and make
Okay.
it. I mean,
And that would be per release too, right?
Yes, per release.
Yeah.
Should we give Brian an action item to review those matches? Because we need somebody to test them. We don't really know how to, so we should learn. That seems reasonable. So Brian,
Yep.
you know the patches that Sarah's just sending to our list, would you look at those, test them,
Okay.
and let us know how well they work and things?
Yeah, I have the Panda board.
I mean, you can do it anywhere because I don't think they're
Yeah.
Panda specific, they're not ARM specific.
It's
No.
it's generic code.
It's generic code, but if you could look at those and get familiar with them so that we
Okay.
don't all have to, that would be great.
Now the tail end of that patch set is the wackier patches that you might never send upstream. But
Right.
So do you have a Git tree or?
It's on our
Yes.
list.
Okay.
It was sent to our list, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Are we done?
yes.
I think we are.
Great. Thanks everyone.
That's a wrap.
Thanks.
Thank you.